The new Flat Rate Podcast.
The new Flat Rate!
For contractors ready to boost tickets, simplify business, and gain freedom. Today, we sat down with Dave Rothacker, leadership explorer and guide with Go Time Success Group. And now, your host, Danielle Putnam.
I'm Danielle Putnam, CEO of the new Flat Rate, and with me today is a great friend, Dave Rothacker. Dave, thanks so much for taking the time to join me. We just wanted to press record and talk about leadership. Dave has been in the trades for a very long time and hosts mastermind classes about leadership, but I don't want to get into that yet. I want him to tell us more so that we can actually make it applicable. So let me backtrack and say, Dave, welcome to the show.
Well, thanks, Danielle. Thanks for having me.
You mind telling everybody a little bit about who you are, where you come from, what are you doing with Go Time?
Dave Rothacker. I consider myself an explorer, a leadership explorer and guide. And actually, I just consider myself an explorer and guide. And I've been that way all my life. That's not a position. That's just who I am. And I've been in the trades for just about 42 years now, and started off working for a mechanical HVAC company, and then spent 25 years in all different levels of management. I retired early in 2009 due to some health issues. And so since 2009, I've been involved with writing and, well, exploring and guiding, really. I'm just being me, doing me sort of thing. I also was with Service Roundtable from its inception, and I am still with them today. And also with Go Time, and doing my leadership thing with them. Go Time, it's a rather unique organization. We do business coaching, service titan coaching, and we do technical training. And so we have a opportunity to hit and help contractors from all different angles of their business.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's so neat what you do. I know your leadership mastermind classes, I've actually personally attended them twice. Two, not three, right? Just two times, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And right before we pressed record today, Dave was talking about a intentional living John Maxwell mastermind class that he'll be hosting coming up in October, and so I think I'm going to sign up for that one too because they're so good. I love the masterminds that you guys do and all your training. So thank you for that. Thanks for being here. And a girlfriend of mine, she lives across the street, and she's one of my best friends. I love that she lives across the street. It's a season of life. We may not always get to live across the street from each other, but right now we get to talk over the fence, like that old show, Home Improvement. So we get to talk over the fence, and she's a children's director at her church. And her big complaint is how she needs generational mixing in the church. She's like, so many people think that it's just young parents that need to volunteer in the children's ministry at church. She's like, do you know why we need grandparents? I'm like, why? She says, because they're not scared of a crying baby. She's like, you give a crying baby to a young college kid or a young first-time parent, they don't know what to do. She says, but grandparents, they know what to do. They're not scared with that crying baby. And the reason I say that is because, Dave, the experience and the time you have spent in the trades is so valuable. And so often we isolate ourselves and we just hang out, whether it's just in our own company or people our own age, or whoever we're riding along with, we hang out on one level and we're missing so much. We need all this intergenerational mixing in the trades, the pass down of knowledge, and leadership really plays into that. So I know you have a lot to be able to share with us today. We need to hear this. Let's talk about our topic is leadership is influence. What do you mean by that?
Well, let me just back up a quick second,
Okay.
because what you just said about sharing intergenerational knowledge is a huge part of my soul. And this is a whole different, could be a whole different podcast, check mark on that one, because, oh my gosh, I've had so much experience with this personally myself. And it started when my father retired from his job in 1994. And I said, knowing that the baby boomers were going to start retiring in about 10 or 12 years, at that point, I thought, we have to tap their knowledge, my knowledge.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm right in the middle of that. And so I had that thought going with me. And then around 2010 or 2000, yeah, 2010, I came up with the idea of coaching young adults to go out and explore the world. And by coaching them, meaning teaching them how to talk to older people in
Hmm.
such a way that could make them stand out from others by doing it with respect and curiosity and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
That's just a tidbit, Danielle. Oh my! And so many people in our trades don't get it. I know you
No.
do. I know you do. And you know why? Because I've been at your events and I see the people that you mix with, and it's you. Yeah, I know Rodney. And he's my age, and he probably attracted some of those people. But I saw how you interact with them and learn from them, and I know that you get that because I've
Hmm.
watched you do it, and so I've always appreciated that about you.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Well, I don't know why all of a sudden it's this lost art. Technology is making it even worse. So I don't need to talk to people. I can just go TikTok about that. And in the knowledge that we can learn, the piece that we can learn from those who have been there, done that, gone before us. Yes, there are new technologies. Maybe we can use a different tool to do it a little bit differently now. And that's why the mixing of the generations is so important
Yeah.
because the younger can say, hey, I bet we could do it faster with this tool. And then those who have been there can say, okay, but be sure and think about XYZ, the unintended consequences of doing it too fast, right? And so we have to have that. And leadership plays so strongly. I love that that speaks to your soul because that really
Oh
makes
yeah.
sense. I'm like, that is who you are, and calling yourself an explorer. That really is.
Hmm.
So, um, how can we influence with that too? The word influence is really going to tie in well here.
Yeah, yeah, and I didn't even think about that until you just mentioned that a millisecond ago. Um, you know what it starts with? It starts with, I believe, respect and then curiosity. Because I have been mesmerized by older people my entire life, and I was brought up to, be respectful. So I just learned that. I didn't have to read it out of a book or anything, thank God. And the curiosity that just sort of, I don't know where that came from, but I'm insatiably curious. And so when you approach an older person and you ask them for their story and you're respectful, you're not only learning for yourself, but you're giving them an outlet to voice their music, to express their soul. And a lot of times they do, and you don't have to yap your yapper about
Mhm.
anything. Just keep it going. Just
Yeah.
go like this, and just show bright eyes and that sort of thing. And this is what I used to teach the kids, because if you do that, these
Mhm.
people are going to remember you as respectful and curious, and they're going to want to help you. And that's
Yeah.
where I had this whole thing back then. I would call it standing out in a sea of sameness. But when younger people engage with older people like that, they're going to stand out in those older people's eyes. And when
Mhm.
someone asks that person, hey, who would be a good person to fit this role or that way? Who are they going to think of? Who's going to stand out in a sea of sameness? It's going to be that young, respectful person.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. You probably know what book it comes from and who says it, but it reson or it reverberates, I should say, it in my mind all the time. Of anytime you walk into a room of people that you don't know, and it's like, this is going to be a little bit uncomfortable. I don't know everybody. This is a new situation. Let's say it's a new trade show and a little meet and greet, and you're walking in, and I always play this in my mind of to be interesting to others, you have to be interested.
Hmm.
And I'm like, if I can just ask a question and be interested in what they have to say, then they'll think that I'm interesting and I don't even have to say anything, right? And so I like to try to practice that, which goes back to I love what you're saying, and it's so important, the word respect, that if we can ask a question of those who have gone before us and be respectful and listen. We've lost that as humanity. I feel like that's a lost art so often, but it doesn't take much just to be respected, to be interested, and just to listen to the story so that we can learn. And stories are fun, and people can talk about stories and share them. But when did we get to this point where we forget to do that? So being curious, you're naturally curious.
Hmm. Dale Carnegie, by the way.
Is the one that said that?
Yeah.
To be interesting, be
Yeah.
interested.
Well, I'm sure many people have
I
said
knew
it, but
you'd know.
that's where I first heard it, you know.
Mm-hmm. Well,
So where were you leading? I'm sorry, if I didn't have
no,
that little spot in my mind to mention the book, I was going to forget it. So,
no, I must say to Natalie, hey, edit that pause out, Natalie. Just edit that out. I'm just kidding. She won't. She'll be like, nah, we'll just keep rolling with that. But respect plays in here so much. And so leadership is influence. When we respect those that we can learn from, and then they can remember us. If we want to climb in our careers, we want to climb in our family, we want to climb in our life, right? It's so much easier if somebody's helping to pave the way for you a little bit. And just
hmm.
like you said, let's say that somebody stood out to you, and then all of a sudden you know about an opportunity and you can pinpoint them and rise them up. I love giving great referrals. So when somebody's like, hey, I'm looking for so and so for this or that, right? I love it. Or if somebody comes to me and say, hey, I'd like to get a job over there. Can you put in a good word for me? Like I think it's incredible how we can super speed our growth, our career paths just by that whole who you know. But who you know can also bite you in the rear end. I've had people also say, hey, will you refer me? I got to keep my mouth shut. Or if others, right? I've called references. This past year, I was doing some hiring and I was like, hey, call all those references. And somebody says, well, references never do any good. That's not worth it. I was like, are you kidding? You have no idea what people say when you do a reference check.
Oh,
They talk
right.
way more than they should all the time. And you can learn so much. But to your point, if you've made a good impression on them, then they're going to propel you. And if you haven't, then they're going to detract you. I've had people say, oh, they were the best employee until they were the worst employee. Don't hire them. And I'm just like, that could have been prevented, right?
Yeah. When the story I mentioned before about the younger person, the older person, that's actually influencing two ways. It goes both ways. The younger person was influencing the older person, and vice versa. And I haven't written about that one a whole lot. I kind of gravitated away from that. But just as we're talking about it now, I had to make a note here that's going to have to come up in my writing in the future, as far as that goes. But yeah, influence and one of the things that I was mentioning to you before we started the call was
Mhm.
influence. Leadership is influence. That is John Maxwell's definition, bar none, of leadership. He says it's nothing more, nothing less. Leadership is influence. And so, one of the things that I'm approached by people in our trades has to do with, where do I find managers? Do I hire from the outside? Do I hire from the inside? Yada yada yada. Well, it's it's hard to tell whether or not, like say, a technician or a CSR would make a good manager.
Mhm.
But you can give them the tools to grow in their role, and they'll reveal it to you at some point. Eventually, they will reveal whether or not they would be a good candidate for for that role. And so, if you teach people, say it doesn't matter. It doesn't even matter if they want to be a manager or not. But if you teach them influence,
Mhm.
they will have the potential. But here's the other part of that. And the question is, if you have a CSR on the phone and they're talking to your customer, would you want them to be a positive influence to your customer? Or your technician, would you want them to be a positive influence, to theirs and your customer? And that's what it's all about. A,
Mm.
one of the masterminds I do is a John Maxwell on the 21 irrefutable laws of leadership. And 21 laws, almost every single one of those is applicable to teaching influence. Some maybe a little less, but and so you don't have to get a book, How to Be Influential. Uh, it
Yeah.
the book teaches you that, teaches, how to do that. And that eventually transitions into being a good leader.
hmm I like how you dove right down in there and using positive influence with CSRs on the phone. Such a great example because the word influence could mean a lot of things. Like, what kind of influence are we talking about? Well, we can hang out at the positive influence level all day long. So let's say you've got, you know, a service manager that you want to grow, and you're going to start with, because like you said, you don't know, maybe, maybe you're thinking about elevating them to become a service manager. You don't know, are they going to be able to be the right manager? Are they not? So how would you start working with this individual on your team in the realm of influence?
Okay, so are you referring to a person in that service manager role? Well, it doesn't really matter.
I wasn't really sure.
Okay,
Right? So
yeah,
I was like, all right, a service manager, but then I'm like, wait a minute, we're talking about growing people. So
right.
maybe you need a service manager,
It's
and you're wondering who should that be?
okay. So the answer is going to be the same.
Okay.
Do they care about other people enough to add value to them? So I hate to do this because I don't like to talk about myself, but it's a good example, and I actually just wrote about this recently. But when
I
I got
want you to talk about yourself. Definitely do it.
when I got it, well, okay, let me back up a little bit more. So you're talking about referring people, right? And I love to do that. And there's a person out there that could be construed in our industry as a competitor of mine, young woman, but I love her. And she does sort of the same thing that I'm doing. And it's like I would rather refer people to her than talk about myself, to be honest. And that is the God's truth. It's like sounds corny, but she does such great work, and I love her to death. And um, so, the whole thing about referring people, it gives you a great feeling when you do it.
It does.
Yeah. So anyhow,
Yeah.
I got myself off track. What were we just
That's
saying?
okay. Caring about people. So the first thing for that service manager role is looking for somebody that actually cares about people
Yeah, cares about people.
genuinely.
Yeah, and then adds value. And so I got into this trade when I was 28 years old. I was a truck driver for 1 year, worked for a large mechanical HVAC firm. And I was only in there for about maybe doing that role for about maybe 2 months, 3 months. And I started seeing, uh, well, number one, we belong to ACA, Air Conditioning Contractors of America. The company I work for had more presidents in my town than any other company. It was very, very involved with ACA, and ACA used to produce technical bulletins. Well, we had these technical bulletins all around our office, but our technicians never got them.
Mm.
So, as a truck driver, I just made copies of them. I got a bulletin, made copies of them. We had sheet metal tin boxes, the standard tin boxes for technicians, 20, 30 of them on lined up on shelves. I just put copies of these technical bulletins in their boxes. Now, I was reading those as well, so I was being curious like I am with no technical background whatsoever. So that would be an example of adding value
Mm-hmm.
to others. And so you can do it from any position, but so you teach your field people to add value to others. Let's just say a technician is talking with his wife. His wife is a part of the local chamber of commerce. They had a speaker on CSRs. He gets two or three little tidbits from his conversation with his wife. He goes to the office and talks to his favorite CSR in the office and say, "Hey, my wife was just at this chamber meeting. You know, this really stood out to me. I'm just going to pass it along to you." That's adding value.
Yeah.
And
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 that's
so
not too hard. That's not too hard to ask people to do.
mhm. So if your field people can get into the habit of doing that, then that's grooming them for that manager role. Now, once you're a manager, you need to amp that up like 100 times. As a field personnel, you got a lot on your plate, and it is hard to do. You can't do it, but as a manager, that's your job.
Yeah.
And you really need to figure out ways to add value. And I think you used the term before, pave the way,
Hmm.
because that's exactly what the manager's doing, paving the way for that person to be who they are and be all they can be.
Yeah. One of my best managers that I worked for years ago, I was in college and I was real stressed out at the time. And I felt like, this is so hard. My job is hard. And he just listened. He was calm, present, listened. And then afterwards, he took a sticky note and he just kind of drew some boxes. And he's like, Danielle, these are the different categories in your life. You've got your home life, your school life, your work life, your friend life, your exercise life, or whatever, health or whatever. Right? Here's your buckets. He's like, you got to try to keep them a little bit more balanced. He's like, yours are all like this. He's like, so you're gonna have to shave off some here to even them out a little bit. And he handed me 2 movie tickets. He's like, go to the movies, bring a friend, take a break. And I will never forget. He just handed me 2 movie tickets. Somebody probably gave it to him. Probably didn't cost him a dime. They were already there in his pocket, right? But it spoke volumes to me. He added value in just a small way of listening and encouraging me to do something to create some more balance. So he didn't have to know all kinds of technical stuff. He didn't have to, know the perfect thing to say. And I feel as a leader, sometimes it's a little intimidating, feeling like, well, I've got to be ahead of my people all the time. I got to be able to teach them something new all the time. And adding value, to your point, you were taking content from one place and just sharing it.
Hmm. Right, right.
That wasn't
You
too
know,
hard.
that's that's the essence of creativity, when you can take something from one place and combine it and mix it, and that's something else I'm passionate about. It kind of feeds into that. But that's not the goal. It's just something that just kind of rung a bell right now with me as you were mentioning that. But that you really your example of the boxes and the sticky notes. I mean, that's a perfect example of adding value.
Yeah. Just helping people to realize, wait a minute, here's where you are. Let's calm down a little bit and let's take the next step, right? Okay. So CSRs, I love that. Let's say that we've got a couple CSRs and you're looking for one to rise up to kind of be the champion on the team and to lead the others. Now what?
That's a great question, because, and it's an easy one for me, because I've just seen this over and over and over. You look for the person who, number one, who's sharing with others, but they're sharing because, or as a result of maybe their curiosity and where they're out there trying to get better themselves. That's kind of where a lot of things I share. I'm trying to get better myself, and I notice something that could help others, and so I share it.
Hmm.
So the key here is that CSR out there trying to improve themselves and make themselves better outside of the 9 to 5. Those are your people that are going to be good managers. If they're a 9 to 5er, nothing wrong with that. It could be, a place in the company for that. It could be. They're just probably not going to be a good manager, though. I get the whole work-life
Hmm.
balance thing, which I'm not really a big believer in it, to be honest with you. It's the seasons in need. Sometimes there's going to be unbalance because
Hmm.
one of your seasons you're going to be needed more. Perfect, example is starting up a company.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. We write about that in the Go Time book. You know, the
Yeah.
the whole work life uh, conundrum
Hmm.
kind of thing. But those are the people that are out there trying to get better, who are going to make, uh, at least for a start, anyhow, going to make good managers.
Hmm. Yeah, that's a really good point. Really good point. And I also like how you say seasons of need, right? It's frustrating right now. I've got a friend who very educated, not in the trades, but is an engineer, very educated outside of the trades, and is going through some transitions. And I was like, well, what are you looking for? Oh, just some flexibility, just some work from home flexibility. And I'm just like, what? Like, What we're just looking for just you just want to just work from home and like sip your coffee in your pajamas and like there's nothing wrong with working from home, but it's the energy and the attitude behind that mindset that I'm like, where did all the growth people go? Does nobody want to grow anymore? Because I hear that all the time. Oh, I just want something, where I can just work from home, just have flexibility for my life, more work-life balance. And I'm just, like, to your point, I'm glad that you said that you think it's a hoax. It's ridiculous
I
because
think
what
the
in the
growth,
world are we doing?
yeah, I think the growth people are out there. But hey, quick sidetrack here.
Yeah,
Um, that person who was an engineer and getting into the trades, if you have someone joining your team was not in the trades before, they can offer a world of insight. And so I suggest to people coming in like that I suggest to managers who are working with people to come in like that, mine those people, mine them for golden nuggets, ask them questions, get
yeah,
them to talk about, other experiences and things like that. Uh, a few years ago, I did a deep dive into the world of education and, oh man, teachers. The most respected position in the world, as far as I'm concerned, teachers. And I'll drop a clue to that young lady out there who is my competition. She was a teacher in a past life, but I'm not going to say anything more because I don't know. I'm, I'd like to, but I better not.
we're here to promote Go Time.
Right, right, right. Now it's all good. It's all good. But teachers have so much to share. And if you and anyone listening here, just stop and think about it, because we all know ex teachers who are no longer working in schools. You're never not a teacher, but no longer working in schools. They can add significant value. So, mine those folks and
Mhm.
you know, um, value what they have to bring.
Yeah,
Had a little
and
sidetrack there.
well, I'm glad you did because you know what teachers do is they're constantly prepping after hours. They're constantly prepping on the weekends, not only just grading papers, but looking ahead. And so, to your point, like they're already in that mindset of what more can we do? How can we better serve? And so we've had a couple really great things come out of this. Leadership is influence, teaching people to share with others, to add value to others.
Mhm.
Start with a positive influence in the places that you're in now, and look for the people that are organically doing that for the people that you may want to promote in your company. Can you talk a
Mhm.
little bit about your mastermind classes? Like I said at the beginning, I've attended two of them with Go Time and with Dave, and on John Maxwell's 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. And I've got my book here for our
Okay.
for
Cool.
our call, right? And of course, in those masterminds, got lots of good notes, of course.
Oh man. Yeah.
But I know you have others going on too. So can we talk just for a second about, like I know it's easy to forget. It's like you've got people on your team, you're busy, especially right now it's summer, everybody's working, you got guys out in the field, and you might have somebody on your team that wants development. They want you to take a notice in them and develop them. And you're like, okay, cool, I can send you to, X amount of trainings or this and this and this. But every once in a while, it's like, well, which training should I send them to next, right? Or which one would be the most valuable? And so I want to remind everybody to strongly consider what you have, Dave. So will you tell us some more?
Yeah. The thing about a mastermind, which is a ridiculously burned out term at Word, but it is what John Maxwell talks about, and I'm a certified John Maxwell independent executive independent, I don't know, director, something like that. But so I'm sort of tuned into his verbiage and things like that. But with a mastermind, a group of people, like-minded people, come together and it could be based on anything, but in mine, they're based on John Maxwell's books. So in the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership, which is um, a book and mastermind that could benefit anybody in your company, from the most experienced, I don't care who the leader is. I'll take the guy or gal who's running Carrier right now, or Train, and have them come into our mastermind, and they're going to learn something, or they're going to be refreshed. The same thing applies to somebody that like is just not just somebody who is a truck driver or warehouse personnel or CSR kind of individual. Put them together, pursue the knowledge collectively. And here's the most important thing, it's not a sage on the stage, it's a group of like minded people talking and sharing about their experiences. Now, let's just say a warehouse person doesn't have a lot of experience in leadership, management, the executive world, whatever that might be, but they've seen it. They've seen
Hmm.
examples of everything we talk about, everything that is pertinent to leadership and influence. They've seen pieces of that they can share. They have enough experience in like world knowledge or world experiences to share. And that becomes valuable,
Yeah.
especially for that person leading like a large organization, because they're out of touch with a lot of things going on today. And when they hear that, it's going to make them pause and think about, hey, I think I got off track with this or that a little bit, type of thing. So that's the beauty of
Yeah.
a mastermind, in my opinion. So we've got the 21 irrefutable laws of leadership, which actually starts tomorrow, August 19th. And then we have another mastermind, intentional living, whom John Maxwell has said is his most important book he's ever written. Guys, this guy has written like 80 books. He has almost 6 decades of in the trench leadership experience and mentorship. And he says this book is his most, important book ever written. Uh, so we have a mastermind based on that coming up in the beginning of October. If you're interested, guys are interested, just go to gotimesuccessgroup.com and look at upcoming classes.
They're on Zoom, and so usually you guys do like once a week or once
On
every other
Zoom.
week, like once a
No,
week.
no, once a week, once a week. So the 21 Laws is a 10-week. It's a pretty immersive, and the bang for the buck is pretty
Yeah.
substantial because it's 10 weeks long. The intentional living is 6 weeks long.
Okay. So you can jump on here. We're not talking about taking away so much and your guys aren't out of the field for so long. It's like, let's give them an hour once a week. And you still watching videos? So you watch some videos, you're
So
reading the books.
yeah, so the 21 Laws is the way that this works is John Maxwell comes on a video, teaches a 5 to 7 minute lesson. The CEO of all his companies, his name is Mark Cole. He comes on an additional video, talks for another 3 minutes, and he talks about applying the lessons. So we watch those two videos and then we share and converse about what it means to us. The 20 intentional living is a little different. It's based on the book. Participants get a study guide, and we work off of that.
Very cool. And then we talk about, hey, how did you apply that this past week, right? To start getting in some good practice. And like Dave said, you've got people from all different walks of the trades going into these groups where they can really open up and share and learn from each other. And at the beginning of our call today, we said, intergenerational, we've got to have that mixing in the trades. We've got to have that mixing of leadership. We need that together. So definitely encourage you to check that out. I want to be in that intentional living one in October. I want to sign up for that. And
Cool.
um, I was gonna say, shoot, as you were saying that, oh, Mark Cole. Yeah, so I've kind of had it when I run, I've been training and running. I'm putting it out there in the world. I'm training for my first marathon. So as I'm running sometimes, I'll listen to John Maxwell on YouTube and podcasts. And so not like Mark Cole, not like I know him, but audio wise, I feel like there for a while, I was like, okay, how is John Maxwell going to pass down? Because he can't do this forever, like he will, but there will be a day when we will miss John Maxwell. So how does he keep this incredible global organization going? Right? He is the number one leader on leadership in the world, and he's got incredible companies. He's got multiple companies, and again, he's global. He's got all of these coaches and these teams. So how do you keep that going? How does he keep that legacy going? And so this Mark Cole guy has been mirroring with him, right? I guess they've just been doing everything together for I don't know how many years. You might know how
A
many years now.
long, long time. I mean, maybe 15 years.
Really?
Yeah,
Well, okay. So as
about
I start
15.
Okay. So it takes a minute, but listening to Mark, I like him more and more and more. And I'm like, wow, great choice, John, great choice, because it's been fun to like, whether you're YouTubing John Maxwell or, doing different things, he'll say something and then Mark will say something and then they're sharing, and it's been really neat. So in our own lives, as we're thinking about our businesses and how to create a legacy and make sure that they run without us, I think it's a great example. Here's my point. It's a great example of bringing somebody up there with you, shadowing with you for a
Hmm.
long time so
Hmm.
that they can continue to run it in your absence.
Yeah.
And it's a really great example of that, because I have no doubt that the Maxwell organization will continue on forever.
Yeah. But wait, there's more. So
Good.
I got to share something else based on what you just did and said. So Mark Cole is a very knowledgeable young man, and he adds all kinds of value, in this and that for everything you're just talking about. But also, the thing that you took out of it was the example of how Maxwell is grooming him. And this is
Hmm.
what I can't encourage enough. Look below the surface of the surface lesson. The lesson is whatever Maxwell's teaching, whatever Mark Cole is teaching. But below the surface is what Maxwell's doing with Mark Cole. That
Hmm.
is an example. You don't even have to read a John Maxwell book. I mean, you could just look at how he interacts out there in
Yeah.
public and learn, just learn and learn and learn. So
Yeah.
we can't do that enough. We can't observe what's going on around us and take lessons that are below the surface.
Hmm. It is important. I've got an intern on my team, and today outside of my office, her office is downstairs, and I'm like, hey, I need you upstairs today. We're going to sit out here at this table. And we're just going to work together. We're just working together, because I think that she's just been kind of left in the back by herself and not really gotten the training that she needs. Right? Am I the perfect person to train her? No, but I am willing, and I can shed some influence, I'm sure. Right? So together, we're going to, what do they call it? Like four-legged, three-legged. I don't know what the term is, but we're going to
Yeah,
make.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, right. But we're going to make calls together this afternoon, and we're going to listen to them, and we're going to test, and we're going to do more. We're going to tweak, and we're going to look at the scripts, because we can, right? Like, we've got to remember to do that. Who on our team can we groom, as Dave says, and shadow with, and go alongside them and support them? Because that is influence, influencing our team members, inspiring them, letting them know they're supported, they can do this, and that they continue to grow. They can continue to grow. So,
Hmm. Yep.
um, Dave, anything else on leadership as influence?
Um, eh, volumes and volumes and volumes, and I just try to, I would leave it at just trying to keep it as simple as, you see someone out there in the world with good character, good ethics, and is worth emulating, emulate them,
Mhm.
emulate them. And try to be, and as you do that, try to be the example for someone seeing you out there in the world.
That's good.
Yeah.
I love that you are here today. Really appreciate it. Everything that you say and read and post, it's always worth looking into. So everybody follow Dave, read his writing, and check out all the books that he's reading. Speaking of, are you reading anything lately? This is the one I'm on, The Three Signs of a Miserable Job. Have you read that?
Oh yeah. It's been a while though, but yeah.
I'm loving it.
Yeah, Lencioni is just a wonderful author, uh, business parable type of author. Yeah.
Yeah, this is my first time on his, and so I've been page turning at night.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
you got any stacks sitting there next that you want to share?
Um, I'm just trying to think of. Oh yeah. Okay. So great, great fit into what we're talking about here. The Diary of a CEO or CEO's Diary.
Mm.
Stephen, and I can't think of his last name right now. Um, but 30 in his young 30s, early 30s. And this guy, it's unbelievable. You talk about the intergenerational, and he's the kind of guy, as I watch and read him, and I'm looking at what he's doing below the surface. He's doing exactly what we're talking about. He's paying attention, learning from others, and then kind of feeding that into, as grist into the mill of who he is, and teaching others. But what a there's a term out there that I actually just heard the term or learned it this morning, and it was from his book. Now that I think about it, habituated. It's a kind of a psychological term for if you have something in your life that's over and over and over, you don't think anymore about it, and you just kind of go on to the next thing. And this is where the status quo, where we get ruined by the status quo. Why isn't our industries improving? Because we're doing what we always did, kind of thing.
Wow.
And it's this book. He just from his millennial perspective is very rich, and I highly recommend it. Doug, on it. It's the book is not within my grasp right now, and I give you the
We'll,
exact.
we'll put it in the show notes. We'll find it.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah,
can't wait. I'm gonna order it and we'll put it in the show notes.
yeah. Dynamic dude, man. It's like I wish that I would have been had the insight that he has at 30. He's the same age as my daughter. I think he's 33. It's incredible what he's done. It's mind blowing actually. But that intergenerational thing ties perfectly into what we were talking about.
Yeah, and habituated. I mean, what a great word. Because
Yeah,
we do that. We all do it all the time. The things that have always been done, right? And so that's why we have to have the intergenerational, because like my kids will be like, Mom, why are you doing it like that? Like it's faster over here like this. Oh, okay.
yeah. Here's an
We do that.
example. Here's an example of what he talks about. I'm my example, but same thing. Please leave us a 5-star review. We tune that out. We so tune that out. No one does it based on that. But you have to tie it into, you start with say a question, uh, something related to what you did that hooks that person,
Mhm.
and then transition into would you please leave me a review type of thing. But please leave me a review just gets
Yeah,
tossed by the roadside. Doesn't
yeah,
work. So,
you're right. And then everybody tunes it out. You're right.
mhm.
Dave, it's been a pleasure. It's great fun talking. Leadership is influence. Everybody check out Go Time Success Group and their upcoming mastermind classes that Dave leads. Definitely worth your while.
If you want to learn more about the new flat rate, go to thenewflatrate.com. If you want to learn more about Go Time Success Group, go to gotimesuccessgroup.com. Lastly, don't forget to check out the books we mentioned in this podcast. I linked them down below in the description.